Good evening and thank you for joining us. Ontario has passed a health reform bill that will allow more private clinics to offer some publicly funded surgeries. It's part of a plan to cut long wait lists for care.
The ayes are 68, the nays are 34.
The ayes being 68 and the nays being 34, I declare the motion carried.
Cataract surgeries and diagnostic imaging and testing will be expanded. Plus, the government will create an entirely new system to perform hip and knee replacement surgeries. The moves are meant to help address the massive backlog of surgeries in the province, which currently stands at more than 200,000 procedures. But the bill has drawn criticism from healthcare workers who say it will cause hospitals to lose staff to private clinics. The Thunder Bay Health Coalition is also a vocal critic of the legislation and is planning to continue to push back against the province. This all comes as a local medical clinic has implemented a membership program, forcing patients to pay annual or monthly fees to access services. Vasilios Bellos has the story.
The passing of Bill 60 on Monday came with a controversy, with Thunder Bay's local health coalition ready to push back.
We have a public Medicare system in Canada that we are so proud of, and the Doug Ford government is basically eliminating it to whatever is left of it.
Co-chair Jules Tupker has been a harsh advocate leading up to the passing of Bill 60 and says those efforts will continue. The Ontario Health Coalition has begun a citizen-run referendum against the bill, which allows more private clinics to offer some publicly funded surgeries. The referendum has already amassed more than 70,000 votes online. Those and other ballots accumulated throughout May are planned to be delivered to Queen's Park at the end of the month. While any number of ballots cast does not force the province to take a step back on Bill 60, Tupker believes this would still send a strong message.
The government wants to continue with that process. They're going to end up paying for it. At the end of the day, they have the right to implement it because they have majority in part in the legislature. But at the end of the day, they have to get reelected. And I'll tell you right now, for the next 3 years, we're going to continue telling people this is what Doug Ford has done. He has eliminated public hospitals, and he's going to end up closing public hospitals.
The passing of Bill 60 comes as just last week, a clinic on East Victoria Avenue began a membership program. Fort W Medical Clinic says it's charging patients $100 a year or $10 a month to access services from their nurse practitioners. The clinic is citing increased costs in providing medical services and the fact they receive no government or OHIP funding.
The healthcare funding in Ontario is not up to snuff. And these nurse practitioners that are working at the clinic now, at the Fort W Clinic, they can't afford to pay the nurse practitioners. They need them because we know that there's not enough doctors.
The owner of Fort W Medical Clinic wasn't able to speak on camera regarding their new membership fees. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Nipigon OPP are expressing concern about some highway drivers in that part of the region this weekend. One passenger vehicle was caught doing 151 kilometers per hour in a 90K zone, and two other drivers were charged with either having no license or a suspended license. They also stopped a transport that was missing one of its wheels. The Nipigon detachment received a traffic complaint around 10:30 Sunday morning. A 29-year-old driver from Caledon was charged with driving a commercial motor vehicle with a part detached and driving with a major defect. Nipigon OPP also charged another transport driver with 10 offenses, including doing 128 kilometers per hour and not having a speed limiter. A 36-year-old man faces multiple charges, including assault with a weapon and assaulting a peace officer after an incident at a Northside home on Saturday evening. Thunder Bay police arrived at an Albany Street residence where they were threatened by the accused while he brandished a knife. Two victims, including a child, were barricaded in one of the rooms at the time. Officers were able to remove the child from a window, but another victim was still inside when the suspect began to move toward that room. That's when police arrested the man. He's been remanded into custody. An event meant to tackle mental health issues for first responders and their families was held in Quequebeca this past weekend. The goal of the Frontline Family Festival is to bring all emergency responders together to share information and support one another. Jessica Clement has the details.
The inaugural event brought together emergency service workers from all areas and their families for a fun-filled and informative day. The event featured various booths from organizations that help first responders with mental health issues, giving out information to families to let them know what services are available to them. The event also featured a number of activities for the kids, including a bouncy castle, horse carriage rides, and clowns.
They come to work with us without knowing it. So we want to make sure that the families are well protected as well as our workers.
Peer Support Coordinator Constable Jeff Elvish says it's important for frontline workers in the North to band together to engage in the fight against a common problem.
Mental health has become a crisis for frontline workers. Job stresses are increasing, the demands for calls are increasing. Unfortunately, manpower is falling and we just don't have officers to respond. So officers are going for a 12-hour shift nonstop and they don't get a chance to decompress. And when they don't get a chance to decompress and talk about things, bad things can happen.
One of the organizations on site was Boots on the Ground, a 24-hour volunteer-driven first responder and family support line. Northwest Operations Manager Sharon Back says events like the Frontline Family Festival are really important.
I've had already multiple conversations about what we do and how we do it, and some potential partnership discussions as well, which is really interesting and always fun to do. And that's part of the reason why these events are so important, because we need to work together. We can't be working in silos anymore when it comes to supporting our first responder community.
The event also marked the opening of the Frontline Family Support Center, which will operate out of the Quebec Legion. It will be run by family members of first responders who have been beside their loved ones through their fight for mental health.
We've had a lot of people actually come today and ask, where do I go? I don't think I have PTSD, but I have a lot of trauma that I carry. So this is what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to open a family resource center here with the Quebec Legion. We're going to gather once a month, bring your family, just kind of have an open talk session. We're going to have a sit in a circle, a meditation time, and just an open session to tell our story and break our stigmas of what this is all about.
Elvish says she's hoping to put up a website with more information about the center soon, and Thunder Bay Police will also have updates. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
A pair of drug dealers arrested in Thunder Bay in 2018 have received lengthy prison sentences. 31-year-old Khalid Youssef of Edmonton and 30-year-old Adrian Miles Puentes Reed from Hamilton were charged following a major bust on Rattan Street 5 years ago. City police seized drugs, firearms, and more than $500,000 in cash. The two men were convicted on trafficking and firearms offenses earlier this year. Puentes Reed has now been sentenced to 9 years in jail, while Youssef received an 8-year sentence. Thunder Bay City Council will be asked tonight to proceed with the next phase of the Centennial Botanical Conservatory renewal. It's recommended that Council commit more than $3 million from the Renew Thunder Bay Fund for the work. The renewal involves accessibility upgrades, the addition of an event room, the replacement of glass panels, and more. The total cost of the project is expected to be up to $8 million, though the city has already secured nearly $4 million from senior levels of government. The report indicates the contract will be tendered this summer with construction planned for next spring. The original plan was to begin construction this spring, but the city was forced to push it back a year due to supply chain issues. A former Thunder Bay City Councillor has passed away. Bill Scully spent 9 years at City Hall and was also a longtime owner of the Ski Haus. Scully was first elected as an at-large councillor in 1997 and was re-elected twice, serving a total of 9 years. He served as Waterfront Committee Chair and helped detonate the Pool 6 grain elevator in December of 2000. Scully also spent time as Chair of the T-Bay Tell Board and as a member of the Police Board. In his younger years, Scully was a champion rower and was inducted into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. A celebration of life is planned for June 10th at Fort William Country Club. Bill Scully was 81 years old. The underground gym is doing a knockout job accommodating evacuees from Kashechewan First Nation while they're here in Thunder Bay. About 300 residents arrived in the city last week after being forced to leave their community due to severe flooding threatening their homes. This isn't the first time the underground gym has hosted evacuees. Owner and founder Peter Panetta says his gym has become a familiar spot for those who've been forced to spend prior flood seasons here in the city. The facility provides a number of family-friendly activities which, under the circumstances, serve as a valuable distraction.
So I got a call to ask if they could utilize the gym. And of course, I said right away, yeah. And we've accommodated I don't know, it must be at least 40 now. Well, the first place you hit is the weight room, then you hit the boxing area, music room, they're smashing the drums and the piano, the art room, there's a playroom, a toddler area where the kids are playing with a bunch of toys.
We're welcome here, and we can see that they feel for us. They see what's going on. You know, I'm so happy these Thunder Bay Fire are here to help us and to entertain, to keep us busy.
Working alongside Thunder Bay Fire Rescue, as well as local businesses looking to pitch in, Panetta also organizes events to ensure the evacuees feel properly welcomed and have opportunities to make positive memories during their stay. Fort William Gardens was once again packed with people on Sunday for the final day of the 50th anniversary Folklore Festival. Organizers say they couldn't be happier with the turnout this weekend. That's because they've now confirmed that they broke an attendance record. Jessica Clement reports.
The second day of the festival saw hundreds of more people wanting to experience the multicultural offerings from countries from around the world. The food court was once again packed with visitors who wanted to have a taste of the various international cuisines offered, and the main stage had even more performances lined up, including Nancy Doetzel, who sang Irish songs, the Italian Alpini Choir of Thunder Bay, and Le Stelle Alpine Italian dancers. Dancer Chloe Creekman says she was excited to showcase some of her culture through dance.
It's really exciting because we get to show people more about the Italian culture than they really know, and it's just nice to show and express that in our dancing.
Chair of the children's area, Jendea Hopkins, has been involved with the Folklore Festival since she was 5 years old. She says the festival leaves a big impact on the community, especially the youth.
I honestly think this is such an important event. When I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of recognition about my culture. I learned all about it from my parents. And as this festival is going on to its 50th year, we have tons of new cultures that are joining in, and everybody can come here and feel celebrated. And kids can walk through and learn about every culture. They can come in and look for their flag and everything like that, bring their friends and celebrate culture all together. It's honestly amazing.
With around 8,000 people coming out to the gardens on Saturday, festival co-coordinator Janetti Juma believes they'll break attendance records.
I am predicting we are going to break the record of 14,000 people, and that was its 40th anniversary. I feel it in my bones, I see it in the number, I see it in the crowds, and Sunday's always a slow start, and we're already filling up the stands.
And as it turns out, this year's Folklore Festival did break records, with over 15,000 people coming out over the weekend to celebrate the rich diversity of Canada. Juma already has next year's Folklore Festival on her mind and says she's hoping to make it bigger and better. Anyone who's interested in getting involved next year can go online at folklorefestival.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Well, now that the snow has finally melted, eager golfers can start getting their clubs out as local courses started to open up. Northern Lights Golf Complex opened its par 3 course on Friday, making it the first course to open in the city this spring. The driving range is also open, and officials hope to have the full-length golf course open by Wednesday. In past years, local courses have sometimes been able to open in mid-April, but the past 2 years have seen longer winters. Northern Lights Clubhouse manager Jocelyn Ketcher says they're anticipating a busy weekend and season.
Everybody's anxious to get out and start swinging their clubs again. And I think our season, hopefully the weather will, it's all about Mother Nature and making sure that she's not going to dump rain on us all summer. But if the weather holds, I'm sure we'll be up for another busy summer.
Very exciting, yeah. I think that you're going to be very busy out here today. There's already quite a few people on the range, and we're going to try the par 3 and see how the game shapes up early. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, we've been waiting. It's been a long winter.
Meanwhile, Dragon Hills is opening tomorrow. Several other courses are expected to open later this week, while some will wait until next week or the long weekend. Well, Fiona, today was really the first day that it felt like golfing weather out there. We've been chasing these seasonal values, it seems like, forever.
Yes, it does, and nobody make any sudden moves. You might chase it away. Today we had a low of 0, topped out at 14, loads of sunshine. I actually took a walk this morning into work and it was just beautiful. It was mostly cloudy in the afternoon and winds were from the east, 14 to 28 kilometers per hour. But this is what we are aiming for, maybe a couple degrees warmer, and things are actually looking good for later on in the week. At this hour, we've got 18 in Upsala and Atikokan, and then temperatures take a bit of a fall to 11. Now, that is the high for the day for Fort Frances, but their overnight low was only 7 Celsius, so they were warmer at night, a little cooler during the day, and a lot of cloud cover. There's rain on the way. Kenora also a bit cooler at 10, 15 in Dryden, and yes, that's 18 in Red Lake, although they started out at 2 Celsius. They've topped out at 19 about an hour ago. They're currently at 18, 20 in Sioux Lookout, 17 in Pickle Lake, 16 in Armstrong, and down to 15 in Greenstone, but all with lots of sunshine. Now, along the lakeshore, they're at 17 Celsius, and in Sault Ste. Marie, currently at 15, which is their high for the day. They also had a cool overnight low of 2 Celsius, but lots of sunshine at this time. Now, tonight in the city of Thunder Bay, we're looking at an overnight low of 2. There could be some clearing in the overnight hours, and things are actually looking pretty good for tomorrow. We're actually looking at a fair amount of sunshine and some nice temperatures. Now, this looks a little bit scary, but this is just showing you the area that could be affected, and it's not a strong system. It's actually going to be weakening as it heads in an easterly direction, which means there's a good chance Thunder Bay is not going to have to pull out any umbrellas. But there's also the question of what follows, and I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, big news this afternoon. Ottawa is expelling a Chinese diplomat at the center of allegations that China is working to intimidate Canadian MPs. We'll have all those details as your news hour continues right after this.